Season 4 Volume 2 was recently released, and it's safe to say that it could quite possibly be the best installment that we've ever had of the show, with there being multiple revelations and things that stood out for a number of different reasons. I thought I'd take a look and reveal what I believe the 5 most powerful moments in Volume 2 were. So let's get into it. Here are the 5 most powerful moments in Stranger Things Season 4 Volume 2. Just to let you know, this video will contain spoilers. There were genuinely some true standout moments that on another day could have potentially made the top 5. However, on this occasion, this is the 5 that I believe are the most powerful. Number 5. 11 bringing down the helicopter. The moment that occurs in 5th place on this list happened right at the end of episode 8. It followed on shortly after we had seen 11 injected with something that had made her weak, after Brenna stated how he wasn't going to let her leave the facility. The troops had stormed Project Nina, and after Brenna had escaped with 11 in her dosed state, we saw him get taken out by the helicopter above. It was here where the troop was ordered to take the shot on 11, but she vanished in the brief moment. It was in this moment where I believe the most powerful moment occurred. We hadn't seen 11 utilize her powers on a large scale for almost a whole season, and this happened at a time where it was most definitely needed. We saw her standing there with nothing around her other than the vast desert landscape, the troop in the helicopter aiming but missing every time, and 11 stood there, in full control, spinning the aircraft around. The music gradually built up until 11 dropped her arms and let out a harrowing scream, whilst the music then cut and the slow motion kicked in of the helicopter on its side falling to the ground, with 11 just stood there looking on. We then had a shot that slowly moved to a close-up of her face, where we could then see just how much energy it exerted from her. But at this moment we knew that 11 was back, stronger than ever, and was prepared to give it her all. It was a powerful moment for sure that allowed the excitement to form, and also shock at what she'd just done. Number 4. Will's speech. The moment that I believe comes in 4th place on this list occurs in the beginning of episode 8, where Jonathan, Argyle, Mike and Will had located Project Nina and were on their way to finding 11. We witnessed Mike initiate a conversation, where he stated how he was worried that 11 wouldn't want to be with him once they rescued her, and that he wasn't good enough for her. And it was here where we then saw the powerful moment occur. We witnessed Will break out into a speech where he had stated exactly how he felt about Mike, but he positioned it in a way where he was referring to how 11 would feel, despite it being about himself. He mentioned how although he feels different, Mike gave him the courage to carry on, and how he would always need him in his life, and how Mike was the heart of the group and how the group can't function without him. We saw Will break into tears to himself at the end of his speech, whilst looking out of the car window, with his brother Jonathan noticing. It was a moment that highlighted a couple of things: his love for Mike, the loneliness he'd been feeling, and the struggle that he'd been going through on his own. It was a heartbreaking scene that was extremely powerful, and we actually got a glimpse inside of Will's mind in that brief moment. A character that we saw very little of in Season 4 Volume 1. Number 3. Vecna notices 11. The moment that I think comes in 3rd place on this list occurred just before the final battle commenced in Episode 9 of Volume 2. We had Vecna locate Max inside of her memory of the snowball of 84, and he had a hold of her and was about to claim her, when out of the blue, 11 walked in around the corner, dragged Vecna towards her with his back turned and his head facing upwards. She slowly turned him around and then finally, once turned round, lowered his face. Where he growled, his emotions turned to pure anger as he uttered the word, "you." It was a moment that had only one word but spoke a million. They hadn't seen each other since the events that occurred in the Hawkins facility back in 1979, and despite Vecna being in the world that he now wanted to be in, you could sense the anger that he felt towards her and the pure rage and evil running through his body. I thought this moment was perfectly executed, and it genuinely felt like they hadn't laid eyes on each other in all of that time, and it was a reunion that held so much weight to it, as they were about to face off again for the first time in years. Number 2. Eddie's death. Coming in 2nd place on this list is Eddie's death. Eddie was a character that in a short amount of time made a large impact on everybody. His friendly, light-hearted, caring nature was refreshing to see in the show, and it allowed the balance of the characters to level out and room for him to shine. In the final episode, we witnessed Eddie lure the bats away from the trailer, allowing everybody in the Krill house to have more time to approach Vecna, whilst allowing Dustin to get back into reality and outside of the Upside Down so he would be safe. As he made the decision to stop running away from danger and face the bats head on, we witnessed a flashback of him stating how people like him are not heroes, and how he ran away from the scene from where Chrissy was claimed. From here, he faced the Demobats face on, ran into battle, and unfortunately was attacked by the Swarm, where he was bitten several times. We saw Dustin come back into the Upside Down and arrive over to where Eddie was laying down. We saw an Eddie that was in his final moments. He said how it was going to be the year that he graduated, and he told him with great passion that he didn't run away this time. The final thing that he said was that he loved Dustin, with a single tear rolling down the side of his face. Dustin exclaimed his name, and with the song playing in the background, Eddie then sadly succumbed to his injuries, and it was a moment of pure heartbreak. Number 1. Max's defeat. Max was a standout character in the entirety of Volume 1 and Volume 2 of the show. She was the one person in the group who Vecna was trying to claim for the whole show, but she managed to keep him at bay by listening to her music and thinking of happy memories. In the climax of the final episode, we saw Vecna close in on her and start to claim her, with the process beginning. We witnessed Lucas let out a scream of her name as she was floating in the air. 11 managed to break free from the hold and the vines that Vecna had put on her, and she pushed Vecna with great force over to the other side, freeing Max, and leaving her in a state of half being claimed. Despite being released from the vines, she was in Lucas's arms, claiming how she wasn't able to see or feel anything, but could hear things. It sounded like a living nightmare. She was also uttering the words, "I don't want to die, I'm not ready to go," as Lucas was repeating her name, and we had 11 sat around holding on to her in tears as well. We then had Max close her eyes and she died for 1 whole minute. Everything about this moment was perfectly executed, and it allowed the heartstrings to be pulled on, and it got so much emotion out of the viewer. The song playing in the background and the performance from both Lucas, Max and 11, it was perfectly done, and it was a beautiful moment that was delivered perfectly, and I haven't stopped thinking about it since. And that's why it's the most powerful out of them all. So, there you have it. What I believe are the 5 most powerful moments in Stranger Things Season 4 Volume 2. If you want to see more videos on Stranger Things such as Volume 1 and Volume 2 ending explained, theories and predictions or character breakdowns, then click on the I button. Or alternatively, you can head over to my channel where you'll find them all. If you'd like to give me a show or movie to review next, then head over to my Twitter @BrainPilot_, and tweet me what show or movie you'd like me to review. And finally, if you'd like to see what I rate the movies that don't quite make the cut to getting a dedicated video, then head over to my Letterboxd profile. It's where I rate the latest releases in real time. What are your most powerful moments? Leave a comment down below, and don't forget to subscribe. I'll see you next time.